I was cruising Craigslist today and I found the oldest guitar that I found in the last 10 years. This is the oldest guitar that I found. Built in 1897, and it is unlike anything I've ever seen. So I have to show you. Let's go to Stanton, Virginia. You have to see this guitar. It's unbelievable. Hey man.
Hello.
Hey, I'm Jeremy.
Hey Jeremy, I'm Travis.
So there it is.
Yeah, this is the old, it's a little piece of Virginia history right here.
I've never seen one this old.
It's interesting. The tag of the name of the man is C.E. Snap, and it's printed in Winchester, and that Snap name, I wish I could have delved deeper into this, but that name is pretty prevalent around Winchester. Just in the little bit of Googling or whatever, I can't find anything on him particularly.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that the Winchester is scratched and Grottos is written in with an actual date, November 15th, 1897. And this thing is actually a properly built guitar, which looks like a Martin from the same time period. So whoever this man was really knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
You know, this is
look at that, is a V-neck.
Yeah, so this was, at that time, this was before the adjustable truss rod, of course, which that was invented in 1923 by Lloyd Loar. And these tuners are just, I mean, that's real bone or ivory.
Yeah, probably ivory, I would bet.
It's very possible that's ivory.
That is crazy. And it's a very square headstock, square slots.
Yes, and it is a proper 12 fret. I think one of the things that had been done to this in its lifetime is that someone, I believe, has replaced the fretboard with an ebony board. I just have a feeling, I mean, it's pretty smooth, it's pretty clean. I just have a feeling that the fretboard may not be original.
Yeah. Did you refret it when you did it?
I did the refret, yes.
Because they're very well done.
Yes. Yeah, the refret. And the tailpiece also is new old stock K, because
how cool.
It was broke, the old trapeze was broken here. And so I had to find, it was the closest one I could find that actually fit and match the original, which is new old stock, like K tailpiece.
Yeah.
So
and then this is quarter sawn oak, or is
it's oak. Like, you just don't see oak, well, because oak cracks and splits a lot.
Yeah.
So
do you know Steve Showalter?
I've met him.
He makes a bunch of guitars out of oak. Okay. He does oak and Osage orange and sycamore.
Yeah, and it had this crack right here, which is, you know, I've put together and cleated. Looks like rosewood and maple back stripe. And it has a little piece of, and it's maple binding with a little piece of rosewood, which I assume it's rosewood. Around the edge. And when I got it, it had a crack running all the way to the length. It was open. I mean, it was like a full quarter-inch gap.
I mean, I would bet that this thing spent a bunch of, like, decades in an attic or
something, closets, attics. Yes. And it was falling apart. And like I said, it was one of my projects that I just, you know, during the 2020 quarantine, I was like, well, it's time to get to these, and it was fun. It was really fun working on this thing.
You've done a really good job. So what's the bracing you said?
It has 3 ladder, so it has one here, one roughly somewhere in here, and then a third one down in the back. Okay. So it actually does have 3. Oh yeah, and the one that's up here to, you know, to stabilize this area. Yeah.
Now, is this bridge original?
It is. So I just put a new fret in there and then sanded down, because this was all broken back here. So I just sanded it down. The only thing that I did not do, because I felt like just in the build, so I did put silk and steel on this, which it shouldn't have anything more than that. Considering its age. So the action is kind of a bit like a classical. Yep. And there's not a lot of break angle going on here, so the only way to, you know, to change that would be a neck reset, and I just did not want to get into that. Yeah. You know, and possibly damage the guitar anymore for its age.
Absolutely. So the $1 million question is, how does it sound?
Wonderful.
Awesome. Well, I'll set up the microphone and we'll record that. That sounds awesome.
It's really good for that kind of stuff. Or like that John Hurt kind of thing.
Yeah.
What is it? It's like perfect for that.
Seriously.
So, but for fingerstyle, it's perfect.
That's such a V-neck.
It is. It takes a minute. It takes a minute to get used to it. I've just been playing it for 2 years off and on, so I'm a little more used to it.
So this is the guitar that made me jump out of the studio, jump in a car, come down here. It was built in 1897. Now, there are a couple things that are really cool about this guitar. Number one, just the fact that it was made in the Shenandoah Valley. So I'm in Stanton, Virginia now, but I live in Harrisonburg. All the way at the north end of the valley is Winchester. And so inside this guitar, on the label, it says made in Winchester. And so that's a really iconic town. It's really important, especially for people going into West Virginia. It's the top of the Shenandoah Valley. It's close to D.C. It's about an hour from D.C., and then we're an hour south of that. But then someone scratched out Winchester, and they wrote Grottoes. Now, Grottoes is a tiny little town kind of back over here, somewhat close to Stanton, Virginia. It's in the widest part of the valley, but it still is just a very tiny little town. I've only been there a couple times, and I grew up only a couple miles from it. So the other thing that's really interesting about this guitar is just the general shape and size of this thing, and then the construction and the materials that are in it. So number one, this guitar is really strange as far as its size. It's a little bigger than a Martin 5 size, which is a proper parlor, a very small guitar. But it's also not quite as big as a single O, and so it's been tricky. He doesn't have a case for it, which is why he's just carrying it walking in. Now, the top on the guitar is a red spruce. It's a spruce of some sort, and it's a really good, really tight grain, beautiful piece of wood. Now, on the fingerboard, more than likely, he said that fingerboard has been changed. It's been upgraded to ebony, and then he refretted it in his restoration over the last couple of years. The back and sides are oak, which is really beautiful. Now, this is also... It is quarter sawn. It has these kind of crazy little ribbony, spirally, just bits of grain that run through the guitar, and they're really beautiful. And it totally reminds me of, like, I think all of us have, I think a lot of us would have had, like, a grandma's old piece of furniture or whatever that has this very indicative, very specific looking quarter sawn oak. And so this guitar had that, and it was really cool to see in person. Now, there is a part that we haven't talked about. How much is he asking for it, and why am I going to buy this guitar? And so, number one, he's asking $1,500, and he has a ton of time and energy and effort and passion into this guitar. That, combined with find another one, find a comp, find another guitar made in the Shenandoah Valley that is that old, that is playable, that's in that condition, you're just not going to do it. I've been in the Shenandoah Valley pretty much my whole life, other than a chunk of time in New Orleans, but man, this is an incredible guitar. It's super hard to find. It really is cool. And so $1,500 to me is very fair for a guitar that is 100 and whatever years old. I'll put the math in here. I know better than to do math in front of people on the internet. But 1897 to now, just a shocking, I think that one's easy. 125 years, right? 22 to 97, 125 years. It's amazing. This guitar is also 90 years older than I am. So for the shape it is, for what it is, it sounds great. It plays really well. So if you're interested, this guitar will be for sale. I didn't buy this guitar because I'm pretty much up to the gills in guitars. I have so many guitars, and for this one, it's just, I understand I'm probably the target audience for this. Love guitars, love the Shenandoah Valley, and I've yeah, I've kind of specialized in guitars made in the Shenandoah Valley, but this one is just so cool, but I just can't swing it right now. So if you are interested in this guitar, there will be, Travis's information will be in the description down below. You can reach out to him. You can buy the guitar directly from him if you want. If you are not local, he doesn't want to ship it. So if you're not local, we'll have to work a deal and I'll ship that guitar for you. But this guitar was really, really, really cool, and I'm incredibly thankful that it worked out just in the timing and the scheduling for me to jump in the car and drive down here today to see him. So thanks, Travis. Thanks for just preserving a really cool guitar and a really important, really important guitar. It's 125 years old. So anyway, that's all I got. See you later.
Only in Stanton could I come to buy some coffee and get this wonderful experience.